Okay, we have 4y minus 16 equals. Okay. So just a few algebra steps and we're done. Let's put this minus 3 in here. Distribute it across. Be careful. That is a minus 3x, but then that's a minus 9. And then let's move the 16 over by adding it. We're closer to our goal of getting y all by itself. We're not quite there. We have a 4 next to the y, but the 16 is now gone. On the other side, we have our negative 3x, and the 16 will interact with the negative 9 to be a positive 7. Okay? Last step is to divide by 4. Now when you do it, just put a 4 underneath all the numbers. Like instead of writing one big division bar and putting the 4 there, this is better to write it this way. So that, yeah, we're done. The 4's are now gone. So we have y, and then we have our equals. And that's okay. We have negative 3/4 x. And then what's left over is the plus 7/4. And that'll be the intercept of that line, 7/4. You know, a little less than 2. My graph was a kind of a crude graph. I kind of threw it together real fast. But yeah, it should be a little less than 2. Right now it's a little less than 3. That's okay. Questions about that? What's the answer to this question? Yes?
Yeah.
You gotta go with the shield, right?
Is that you? The heart?
That's not me.
No, yeah. Press yes.
Oh. Cancel. Deny. Oh, cancel. Deny. Get me out of here. No.
No.
Just click X. Click the X.
Why does it do that? Okay. Yeah, back and forth between the two. All right. Sounds good. So, as if that was enough, right? 2 forms. Here comes a third form. Yeah, here we go. This is a summary of all the forms. Let me just cut that one part out I need. The third form is called a general form, where what makes this so different is that the x's, the y's are together, and then even the constant is together on the left-hand side, and it's set equal to 0. An example would be 3x plus 7y minus 5 equals 0. And it looks very different than the other ones we've seen. Point slope has that y minus y1, m times quantity x minus x1. It doesn't look like that. Slope intercept has that y equals mx plus b. It doesn't look like that. And so this general form has the, and I think it doesn't say it, but a, b, and c actually are all integers. That should be said. It's not said, but a, b, and c aren't fractions. They're all integers. Okay. So let's see. Where were we? Let's recap. We have our point slope, y minus 4, 3/4, x plus 3. We have our slope intercept, y equals, oh, there's a negative here, I'm sorry. Negative 3/4 x plus. Okay, so of course the next thing I want is it in general form. And we were almost there actually. If we go back to this algebra that we were using to connect it to, we were almost there when we had this line here that said 4y equals negative 3x plus 7. We were almost there. 4y equals negative 3x plus 7. Right before we divided by 4, we were right there. And so, yeah, the x's, the y's, and the constant are all on the left-hand side, and there's nothing on the right-hand side. We're going to add 3x to both sides and take away 7 from both sides. And then put them in the order that they want. Your x comes first, then your y, and then your constant. So plus 3x plus 4y minus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, so we know what all the forms are now, but there's two types of equations that kind of don't really fit in these three different forms. They just don't look like anything that we see here. Back when we had these horizontal and vertical lines, they have very distinct equations that don't look anything like these equations. Okay, a horizontal line has a special quality that the x can be anything you want it to be, but the y always has to be a certain constant. And so horizontal lines have equation y equals to some constant. X isn't even mentioned in the equation because x is allowed to be whatever you want it to be. It could be a positive constant, it could be a negative constant. That just means where it's placed at in relation to the x-axis. So the flip of that is a vertical line. It has all the x's are the same. It's the y that's allowed to be anything you want it to be. So vertical lines have equations vertical lines have equations x equal to a constant. And I just use a different letter for it, that's all. And whether it's positive or negative is where it is in relation to the y-axis. Alright, and that's what the rest of this chart has, basically. So those are the 5 different forms. They somehow decide to separate these two because they're so different. But yeah, so at least we know what the types of equations are. And now, the very last thing from this section is us like going through a bunch of problems. This thing isn't cooperating. There we go. Okay. Next page over. Parallel lines have the same slope. Right, two lines that are parallel, they have exactly the same slope. Okay, a graph of that. You know, their rise over run is the same. They should have the same kind of steepness. Parallel lines, they'll never intersect each other. The only thing that's different about them is their intercept, but the slopes are the same.